Okay, follow along with me here. What if for some crazy reason I wanted to create a list of either prospects that are in the United States or employees that are not in the United States? And I wanted that all to be in one query. Well, it's possible to do it, but what I have to do is I have to sort of combine a query with another query. In other words, I have to group a query to a query. Now when I get done, it all ends up in one query. So we don't get all confused with this, let's just go in and take a look at what we already have created, and then let's modify it to what I just said. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on Lookup, and then go to Advanced, and then to Advanced Query. Now I'm going to open up my Advanced Query, and notice that I have the U.S. Prospects query in there. Now the U.S. Prospects query right now says that the contact ID status is equal to prospect and the country is equal to the United States. And what I want to add to it then is that in addition to that, we could also have this. And just bear with me, we're going to do this one step at a time. In addition to that, we could also have that the field name ID status is equal to employee, and we're going to add that to the list, okay, and that the field name country is not equal to the United States. And we'll click on Add that to the list. Now, if we just left that alone, that's a big mess, isn't it? What we have to do is we have to make this thing make sense. We've got a query within a query here. And what we're going to end up with is two different queries, and we're going to have to enclose those queries within themselves. In other words, what we need to do is we need to start off, and I'm going to click here, and I'm going to say this is going to be the beginning of it. So I actually need to have two parentheses there. I'll show you why here in just a second. Now the and here is fine because the first thing was that the contact is a prospect and they're in the United States. That's fine. Now what I want to do here is I want to close this with one parenthesis, and then I want an or here. Then I want to open this next one with one parenthesis, and then the and is okay because what I want is that they are an employee but they're not in the United States, and of course then I want to end the whole thing with two parentheses, just like we did in math class. So what we've got is a query within a query, or two queries sort of joined together, grouped together. So what this should get for me is a list that has both all of the prospects that are in the United States and all of the employees that are not in the United States. So I'm going to click on OK. It says, you want to save this query? I say yes, and it says, do you want to replace the lookup? And I say yep. And so we click on OK. And what do we get? Well, we got 22 names. Let's see if any of those are employees that are not in the United States. Yes, they are. So we had our original 20 prospects that we looked at before, and now we've got these two employees, and that's all. Notice that there are other employees that are on the database, but they are not listed because the query specifically said not in the United States. So as you can see, the tools allow me to create some pretty cool queries that once we know, I just suggest that you spend some time looking at that based on what you need to do for your own job. You know, it could be that you need to have a more sophisticated database tool like Oracle or SQL. But it could be that if you're just working with tens of thousands of records and not hundreds of thousands or millions of records, that the tools that are built into ACT will allow you to do the kind of things that you need to do. And the more we learn about how to use the more advanced tools in ACT, then the more we can customize that to our organization. And one of the newer advanced tools is being able to use groups and being able to use companies especially. And in our next chapter, we'll take a look at groups and companies. That's next.